What if the last prophet of the Old Testament, Malachi, held a message so powerful that it silenced prophetic voices for the next 4 centuries? Malachi's words were more than just ancient warnings. They were a final, resonant call, an echo of divine urgency meant to shake the very soul of Israel. And yet, after this message, the voices of prophets faded into silence. For 400 years, there was no word from God, no prophet to guide or correct. Why? What was it about Malachi's message that caused the divine to fall silent? Malachi's words didn't simply address Israel's outward actions. They confronted the inner decay, the growing sense of distance and doubt that had taken root. His words posed unsettling questions about what it meant to worship with sincerity, to hold on to faith, and to connect with the divine, not just as a ritual, but as a reality. This wasn't just a history lesson, friends. It's an invitation for each of us, for all celestial seekers, to delve deep and ask ourselves, are we simply going through the motions, or are we truly connected to the essence of our beliefs? Welcome, celestial seekers. As we journey through Malachi's prophetic message, consider the questions he posed, not only for ancient Israel, but for each of us today. Join us in exploring these mysteries. Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's see if we can unravel the hidden story of Malachi together. The silence that followed and Malachi's lasting impact. After Malachi's final words, something unusual happened. 400 years of silence. No prophets, no new messages from God. It was as if Malachi's warning and promise were meant to echo across generations, giving Israel time to reflect and prepare. This silence became a mysterious gap in history, one that left the people waiting, watching, and wondering. During this time, Israel went through massive changes. Influences from Greek and Roman cultures started to shape their world, and new religious groups like the Pharisees and Sadducees began to rise. Without prophets to guide them, people clung to traditions and laws, hoping to stay connected to their faith as they waited for something, or someone, to fulfill Malachi's prophecy. When the silence finally broke, it was with the arrival of John the Baptist and then Jesus, who many believed fulfilled Malachi's words. But Malachi's message wasn't just for the people of his time. It still speaks to us today. His words remind us about the importance of genuine faith, of not letting our connection to the divine fade into mere ritual. They challenge us to seek purpose and stay true, even when we feel distant or uncertain. Malachi's message and the silence that followed serve as a reminder. Sometimes, periods of waiting and quiet can prepare us for transformation. What do you think? Do you believe the silence had a purpose? Or was it simply a time of waiting? Share your thoughts in the comments. A promise of hope and a warning for the future. While Malachi had harsh words for Israel's priests and people, his message wasn't just one of judgment. He also spoke of hope and redemption, a vision of a future where faith would be restored. Malachi described a coming day when the Sun of Righteousness will rise with healing in its wings. This beautiful image points to a time of renewal, a fresh start where those who remain faithful will find peace and healing. But with this promise came a serious warning. Malachi spoke of a great and dreadful day of the Lord, a moment when justice would come, and those who ignored or took advantage of their relationship with God would face the consequences. It wasn't meant to scare, but to prepare, urging the people to make changes now, to turn back toward sincere worship before it was too late. Malachi's warning was a call for accountability, a reminder that their actions had real consequences. In this vision of the future, Malachi mentioned that Elijah the prophet would return before this great day. Elijah was known for standing up against idolatry and reminding Israel of their covenant with God, so this prophecy was both familiar and mysterious. Some see it as a prediction of John the Baptist, who would later prepare the way for Jesus, while others believe it may still be yet to come. Either way, Malachi's prophecy suggests a final call, a chance to realign with faith and to be ready for what lies ahead. For Malachi's listeners, this message was both a comfort and a challenge. They had to choose between continuing in apathy or turning back to a life of true devotion. And today, his words still resonate. They remind us to examine our own lives, to stay open to change and renewal, and to be prepared for the future. What do you think? Is Malachi's prophecy a message of hope or a call to action, or maybe both? Share your thoughts in the comments. The people's doubts and the weight of disbelief. Malachi's message wasn't just about rituals, it dug deep into the heart of the people's faith and doubts. Many in Israel had begun to question if God truly cared for them or if he was even watching. After years of exile, hardships, and now a time of spiritual decline, they felt disconnected from the promises they'd heard growing up. They wanted to know where God was, the God who once led their ancestors and spoke through prophets. This doubt showed up in their response to Malachi's words. They couldn't see God's love in their lives and questioned his justice and commitment to them. Malachi's answer was both challenging and comforting. He reminded them that God's love was constant, but that their own choices and distance had created this feeling of separation. Their actions, not God's absence, were the source of the gap they felt. Malachi's message is a reminder that doubts are natural but can also pull us away from the things that give our lives meaning. When we start to lose faith, we might feel further from the answers we seek. What do you think? Are doubts a sign of distance, or are they just a part of our journey? Let's discuss in the comments. The corruption of worship and the role of the priests. Malachi didn't hold back when it came to Israel's priests. These leaders were meant to guide the people and maintain the purity of worship, yet they had strayed from their responsibilities. Instead of offering sacrifices that honored God, they brought sick, lame, and blemished animals to the altar, things they wouldn't dare offer to anyone they respected. This showed their lack of sincerity and respect, and it set a poor example for the people. Sacrifices were supposed to be symbols of the people's devotion, a way to express reverence and gratitude. But when the priests neglected this duty, it was as if they'd forgotten the meaning behind the ritual. By offering less than their best, they turned worship into something hollow, just an obligation to fulfill rather than an act of faith. The people followed their example, and soon the whole nation's worship became shallow, missing its deeper purpose. Malachi's message was a challenge to both leaders and followers alike. He called on the priests to examine their hearts and intentions, urging them to bring genuine respect back to their roles. And in this challenge, there's a reminder for all of us. Are we offering our best in our lives and beliefs, or just doing the bare minimum? Let us know what you think. How do you stay connected to what truly matters? Share your thoughts in the comments. When Malachi spoke, Israel was in a strange place. The people had returned from exile, rebuilt their city, and restored their temple. Outwardly, it looked like a time of renewal, but spiritually, the nation was drifting. Worship had become routine, a series of empty rituals rather than heartfelt devotion. People went to the temple and made sacrifices, but their hearts weren't in it. They were just going through the motions, and Malachi saw the dangerous path this led to. Through his message, Malachi held up a mirror to the people, showing them the disconnect between their actions and their faith. They questioned God's love and asked, "How have you loved us?" It wasn't that they didn't know their history. They simply no longer felt the closeness to God that once guided their ancestors. They had grown indifferent, numb to the very presence that had rescued and restored them in the past. So why had they become so distant? Was it the hardships they had endured, or had they lost faith over time, allowing doubt and routine to replace true devotion? Malachi's words were meant to awaken them, to help them remember why they worshipped and who they were. Have you ever found yourself going through the motions, losing the deeper meaning behind your actions? Malachi's call wasn't just for ancient Israel. It's a reminder for anyone who might feel disconnected from their purpose. Let us know what you think in the comments.